Hey guys, it is Amy the Relocated Tourist coming to you live once again from my office. It is Monday, March 9th, 2020, and as you can see, there's a different view. So what's going on? Well, the corner wasn't working for me. A billion reasons why. I don't really want to get into it. I mean, you can see everything from taking over here. I just noticed I have a lot of stuff to put away and whatever. So I will have a beautiful brand new office in 3 months. So I will be so excited to decorate that and show you guys everything and whatnot. But this is what it is right now. So now you get to see my bungalows over here. Yes, this is it. Okay, so today is Moving Mondays, which I'm always excited to talk about because I feel that when you share experiences with other people, it helps them make better decisions in life. So today, Moving Mondays is about PODS. For those who know the saga of PODS and gosh, how do you describe it? Let's start from the beginning. There was once a young girl, I was kidding. This is bothering me. Hold on, let me push it up. I don't even know what it is, but it's gonna bother me. All right, so basically this is it. We use PODS in this is 2020, so we've been back to Florida for 3 years. We lived here 5 years prior to that. We were only in Wisconsin less than a year. So that would mean that 2016 to 2017, we lived in Wisconsin. So let's take it to 2016. It's the end of the spring, it's beginning of summer. We usually move in June. And we had thought about, why don't we try PODS? For those of you who don't know what PODS is, it is a big, huge box that they go and put in your driveway. They drive it up, they plop it down. You have to make sure your driveway is big enough, long enough, short, the whole thing you have to make sure. Otherwise, they can put like in front of your house. And if you have an HOA, if you have any kind of ordinances in your town, in your city about stuff like that, you have to make sure that those are able to sit there because sometimes they can sit there for a couple of days. So make sure, I know in Celebration, they have very strict laws about that you can only have it like for so long in a day and you better have it moved or you get fined. So just keep that in mind. So we got our pod over to our Florida home with no problems. They quoted us the price, that is what the price we paid. They come and pick it up, they call you. And so what happens here is it's a local and obviously a corporate venture. So the local people are the ones that drive the trucks that come pick up and drop off the pod, and they're obviously in your area. And then the corporate and the big guys are the ones making the deals and the money and all that kind of stuff. And basically they're the ones that put it on the semis and pick it up from all these towns and cities and then take it to where you are moving to. The reason we chose PODS is because we thought, well, it's going to be something that will be beneficial to our backs, or like just the thought of like, I mean, I guess we still had to put it in the pod, so I don't know if it helped our backs that much, but the whole thing of driving across about 6 states it takes from here to Wisconsin. So we were very big concerned of there's mountains in Tennessee, and those can be a little bit intimidating, even though the way there is not as intimidating as the way back to Florida. We were still a bit concerned with going uphill and driving these huge U-Haul trucks and having this to worry about. So we thought, let's try PODS. We had read a couple reviews online. We had talked to some people who said they loved it. So we were like, well, let's try it. We, couldn't hurt once, right? So the first experience we had, like I said, was from Florida to Wisconsin in 2016. It worked beautifully. They called us when we got to Wisconsin and said, this is the time frame of when we can drop it off. Give us a day. We gave us the day. Then they give us a time frame to drop off the pod. It gets dropped off in your driveway, and then you have, I think it's like 24 to 36 hours. Maybe it's 1 to 2 days. Usually it sits there in your driveway. So then you have time to unload, get everything ready, and it works out really well. So we got everything unloaded, worked beautifully. Payment went through, everyone's happy. They came and picked up a couple days later. We watched them, take it away, and we're happy with PODS, right? No, what could go wrong, right? So that was what we had. So anything in life, right? You do it once and it goes well. You're like, why not do it again? So when we were back in Wisconsin, I thought, you know what, I think we want to go back to Florida. This maybe wasn't the right choice, or a lot of things we had gone back for had been resolved, or things that we had sorted out with just life in general. We thought we want to go back to Florida. So we're like, let's get PODS again, right? Like it worked the first time, like why would it work the second? Wah, wah. And so I remember distinctly, I was cleaning up our basement, which it was great to have a basement again in Wisconsin. We don't have them here in Florida. And I remember distinctly like picking through like Little's pet shops because my girls just were obsessed with them. We still have like a billion of them because they want to keep them for their girls. I know, I had the Starry Shortcake, My Little Pony. Anyway, so I remember going through this bin of like just never ending. I know all parents have these bins where it's just like there's just these toys that are this small, but there's like a million of them. So you're like going through each one. And I remember going through them, and Craig came downstairs and he said, okay, so we were going to get a budget truck. Friends of ours were moving out also from Wisconsin to Florida, and they did budget truck, and they said it was great, it was cheap, it was affordable, you still have to drive it, but we thought, okay, maybe driving is worth it if it's gonna cost this much money versus this much money. And so we thought, why not? Like, you know, you're doing something that's versus, you know, hundreds versus in the thousands, you know, any dollar you can save, especially on a cross-country move, you'll want it because you'll just find out. So we thought, okay, let's go with budget truck. Well, I remember him coming downstairs in the basement, and he was like, Amy, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. He's like, I called PODS to tell them we're gonna cancel and go with budget, and they said, no, we'll match that price. You know, we had you guys before, we want to keep you as a customer. And it was a phenomenal discount. That already should have been my first red flag because it was such a phenomenal discount. And they're like, no, we want to match that price. So this is where everything goes like this throughout the whole story. So they quoted us a price, sent us an email with the price, and basically that was it. They say, here, this is the dates that we're going to come pick you, you know, pick your stuff up. We're going to drop, or the day we're going to drop the PODS off, this is the day we're going to come pick it up. So we had to make sure that in Wisconsin, we were present in the home when they came pick it up, obviously filled it, but we also had to make sure that we were there and present to watch it leave, because I didn't want to be hiking it and hoofing it all the way down to Florida, you know, feeling all good, and our pod is still sitting in Wisconsin, and what if they never picked it up? That's too scary for me. I wanted reassurance. So they come, they drop it off, we make the payment, everybody's happy, they pick it up. We're ready to go to Florida, and there's no reason to think anything is going to happen. We get to Florida, we have, you know, two or three carloads. I think we have three. It was my car, Craig's SUV, and then Kira has a car. All those on top of, you know, 2 dogs, a cat. I think we even had either a fish or a gerbil, I can't remember, come with us in 2017. All that filled, plus everything else like suitcases and hotel stuff we had, and just all the stuff that we had that we wanted for right now, which was the necessities, nothing like important papers, all that was with us in those vehicles. I cannot stress that. Do not put that in your moving truck. Do not put that in a pod. Keep it on you at all times. Lock your cars. Anyway, so that was so smart of us to do because we get here to Florida, and PODS calls up Craig and says, Craig says, well, we haven't heard we didn't get the confirmation email yet of when you guys are coming. Last time that's what happened. We got an email saying, we'll be here from this to this, pick your day, and then we'll tell you, it's like cable guys, you know, between noon and 4, we'll show up. Great, wonderful. So we never got the confirmation email, and it's a couple days, and so Craig's like, you know, I'm gonna call them and make sure that it's actually coming. And they say, oh, we can't drop it off yet. You have a balance. I'm sorry, what? What balance are you talking about? We already shelled out the money that they quoted. Well, local quoted you that, not corporate. And apparently these two just don't know how to talk to each other, and then they put the customer in the middle and screw you royally. So basically their attitude was, if you don't pay this amount that's left over, we're not going to give you your stuff back. And they were basically holding our stuff for ransom. No joke. So Craig went and talked to local and talked to corporate and talked to local. 2 weeks we fought this back and forth, talking to every person who would listen to us. And finally someone said, okay, either they got sick of us calling or they got sick of us getting on their last nerve. We didn't pay an extra penny at all. And boom, Craig gets a phone call out of the blue, you guys, not an email, nothing, out of the blue that says, hi, let's say it's Ralph. Hi, this is Ralph. We're dropping off the pod between 9 and noon. We're letting you know we're showing up today. And I remember him calling me. I think I was at Epcot. And he's like, you're not going to believe this. They're dropping it off today. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Like, I was so happy because I was like, we're going to have to go to court. We're going to get a lawyer. We're going to have to we're going to pay out the nose trying to get all this fixed. It's just ridiculous. And of course, corporate was saying that local gave it to us too cheap, and local saying, well, that's what we quoted them. And so they're fighting, but they're leaving us in the middle. So somebody must have made peace with something, and we were happy about it, okay? So the pod shows up, I get home from the parks, and we just like, I remember it was really hot because we moved here in June, and I think it finally showed up like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks later. We had not had all of our stuff. And I'm talking memory boxes, which is what we call them, where our kids' baby books and, all of our wedding stuff and like all the stuff that you cannot replace was all in this pod on top of, treasured things. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like we're going to lose all of it. I can't believe this is happening. It was the worst feeling in the world, you guys. And I remember going on Facebook and explaining it to my friends at the time, because I was so lost and so broken about it, because I thought, how can a company do this to you? Like, it's not like they didn't get any money. They got money, and we showed them the email. They didn't care. They literally didn't care. This guy didn't care that guy said this is how much we should get. So yeah, do we have something that could go to court? Absolutely. Do we want to go to court? No, we did not. So we were really happy that it just resolved itself, right? So the pod shows up. I get home, Craig and I book out to the garage, and we're just pulling stuff out of that. Like, I'm telling you, like it was a Black Friday sale and everything was on like 90% off. Like, I'm just grabbing everything because we were so worried that they would realize that they screwed up, because they were still fighting with us over the money part. So why would they go and drop it off in our driveway? Someone was resolving this, but this guy was saying he didn't resolve it, and this person was saying they didn't care. So who was resolving this? We didn't know if we had a guardian angel. We had no idea. We didn't care. We're like, our stuff is here. We pulled it in. Like, I was so happy. And then I remember I was like locking, like the garage door goes down. We lock it. We're like, nobody's touching stuff again, and that was it. And then we're thinking, oh my God, like I read so many reviews during this whole 2-3 week period of all these people who are absolutely getting messed with, and they were never getting their stuff returned, and the pods were holding them for months on end. Then pods would turn around and charge them for storing their stuff, even though they're the ones that were holding it. That's fair, right? So they come and pick it up by miracle of miracles, and I'm like, Craig, it's gone. They took it. It's gone. We're okay. Like, we were so happy about it. Okay, we're thrilled. We're good. And a week goes by, and PODS tries to charge me an additional $1,000 through my bank account. No joke. I thought, you have got to be kidding me. So that then started a whole thing with fighting with my bank over that charge, because I said, no, it's fraudulent. I didn't approve it, blah, blah, blah. They're saying they have my debit card online. Why do they have my debit card on file, I should say? Why do they have that? Because I had PODS the first time. And so they just felt like they could just charge me. Why would they go and charge me weeks later or a week later after the transaction is all done? Like, it makes sense if they tried to charge me during the week it happened, but it doesn't make sense a week after. So I had to fight that. And eventually PODS stopped talking to us, and we were resolving things with the bank, and that's where it all, and I go and read the reviews about PODS online. It is eye-opening. I think there's probably, I don't even want to give percentages because this happened again in 2017. It is now 2020. I have not dealt with them. I don't care to deal with them, and I will never use them again. And, this is a review basically about PODS, but it is definitely pertaining to moving, because you just have got to be careful when you're giving your stuff over to, I've heard stories again of people who even do the movers, go with your stuff. So let people move your stuff into a truck, and then you go drive the truck wherever you're going. Do not let anyone else do it. I don't encourage this at all. The stories I have read online, I don't know how people are out there are like this, number one, but number two, that they can do this to you. And that you know, what happened, I'm sure, is that corporate was like, this is too cheap, you shouldn't have given them that. And they were like, well, it's our local business of PODS, so we gave it to them there. And they're saying, well, you know, local probably felt, well, they got their money out of whatever we paid, and it wasn't enough for the big guys when the overarched price was what that was before. We don't know what happened. We went through emails and everything else. We are still confused as to what actually happened. We got our stuff. That's the best part of the whole deal. I will never use them again. And this is just a tale of being careful of when you use them. Because again, if you asked me the first time around, I would be like, yeah, it was great. It worked out fine. I got my stuff and I didn't have to drive. It was awesome. And the second time, no, it was little hell thinking, oh my gosh, I have to replace this, and this. I mean, I was in tears every day because he would get off the phone and they'd say like, yeah, we're working on it, or we're trying to work on it, or we're getting it worked on. And they can say that every single day and still never get anywhere with you. And then you're like, okay, oh my gosh, I just lost my entire house. Thank you, Jesus. We had put, like I said, important papers. This is why, especially big, humongous cross-country moves, that you bring everything that is near and dear to your heart in that vehicle. Because, I mean, obviously that is why we don't put our children in there or our pets. So I'm telling you, those important papers, your computers, your phones, your, I can't even think of, you know, anything, your safes, anything. I know people, some people are like, well, I don't want to park my car there. Well, don't have it, you know, don't have it visible in your back seat. Put a huge blanket over it. Put it over the stuff in the front if you need to. Don't make it obvious. I know a lot of people don't like driving cross country with a big moving truck because there have been stories of parking at hotels and people know probably what's in there. So get a good lock. Get a really good lock. Get several big locks if you have to. Just make sure that that moving truck is secure. So we are now moving in probably about 3 months now, and I'm telling you that we're not using PODS. It's not across country. It's only across Florida, or barely. It's across the parks. But my point being is, I will never use them again. I highly encourage you not to use them. And if you really want to use them because you've heard good stories from other people, which is completely fair, go do your homework. Go read those reviews, because I remember sitting there with my mouth just wide opening, reading every review after we got screwed. And I thought, had I known, had I just done a little more homework, a little more diving, and not taking it for granted that first one. I mean, we all want to think that, right? Well, the first one went well, so why wouldn't the second one go well? Why couldn't we do this again? This worked out so well. I mean, it's life, right? Like, lo and behold. So there you go. That is the tale of two pods. Yeah, we made it through, and barely. That was definitely a test on all of us. We were very frustrated, very angry, and very frustrated with our faith in the system of moving and trusting people with your belongings. So just really do your homework and be aware of if you're gonna do something like PODS. I know there's a bunch of other cube, you know, I'm talking about cube storage type things. Really do your homework, because once they drive away with your stuff, that is it. And you gotta hope and pray that they own on that contract, that they make good on that contract, and make sure that what you agree to pay is what that is it. That's not another hidden fee down the road. I mean, a lot of people in their reviews, that's what would happen. They drove your stuff away, and now they can come back to you and be like, oh, but by the way, while we store it, we didn't charge you that storage fee. That's like another $500. Is that, you know, they're not gonna say, obviously, they're not gonna say, well, is that cool? They're just gonna be like, well, that's what it is. So you have to pay it, or you're not gonna see your beloved grandmother's necklace again. And you're like, I can't believe that just happened to me. So there you go. I hope this helped you guys stay on Moving Mondays. I am happy to share it, to be a warning for others. And happy moving, guys. I will see you next week. Bye.